worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. I'm En Fuego here, and I welcome you to my namesake program, Enfuegotainment, another Rapido Fuego review. And this is one that I had the pleasure of checking out with Lady Catherine this past weekend, and I know that it was one of those weird, like, midweek release sort of situations, so it actually came out on a Wednesday. I think we saw it on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Went in the deadly desert to Tempe, right next to Arizona State campus. But yeah, man, I am talking Hitman's Bodyguard's wife.
Michael Bryce was trying to put his past behind him.
You need to forget bodyguarding. Repeat after me. No bodyguarding.
No bodyguarding.
Then he got pulled back in.
Let's go! Jesus!
To protect this homicidal nutbag's wife.
What is he doing here? I said, get anyone but Michael Bryce.
I believe it's pronounced, thank you.
And I've seen a lot of people, they're just like, okay, Hitman's Bodyguard, it's kind of a tongue twister of silliness, and that's because of the fact that this is a direct sequel to the 2017, 18, I'm trying to remember. It's like 3 or 4 years old, the Hitman's Bodyguard. And that was a film that was significantly grittier, and I'm not going to say more sinister, but yes, this one is definitely more jovial in its approach, and yet repairs Van Wilder, as I always call him. I know he's Mr. Lively. I'm just kidding. Ryan Reynolds, and then also known as Deadpool. And then you've got Samuel motherfucking Jackson, and also in a more prominent role. And she is the one that I'm going to spotlight in this Rapido review and in my brief discussion is Salma Hayek. And the fact that she was an incredibly minor character in the previous film, and yet in this one, as the title alludes to, she gets so much more screen time, a significant more, and she really just, claims it, makes it her own, and she is so friggin' funny in this movie. This movie is big, dumb fun. And that is something that I've said in my assessments about a lot of different movies, but Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, or Hitman's Bodyguard's Wife, I can't even get the title straight a lot of the goddamn time. But yes, this movie is so unbelievably stupid, but yet in the best possible way. It doesn't take itself anywhere near as seriously as the previous film did, because the previous film was more enjoyable than I was expecting, but it was less Guy Ritchie and more just of the serious, like, violent sort of thing. And I honestly feel like the Gary Oldman being in that previous film, because I just watched the previous film for the first time a few days before catching this one in theaters, and Oldman's villain was very formidable, to be fair, and he was a guy who had so much nastiness that he had presumably done. He's on trial with Interpol as far as, like, international crimes and stuff like that, and yet in this one you have Antonio Banderas as a Greek villain who wants to destroy all of Europe, and yet I like the angle. Because my yaya was from my yaya Loleus was from Greece and came over here as a young girl and married my papa, and props to them for I wouldn't be around if not for that being the case. But yeah, man, Greece, unfortunately, very similar to Italia, they have had some significant financial strains in the last 5 to 10 years, and so I thought it was cool that they incorporated that into the dialogue, and also the addition of, don't think that Morgan Freeman is in a lot of this movie, because I know he is prominently shown in some of the source material, some of the marketing stuff. He's not. He has a very specified role that I will not spoil, but he's not in a excessive amount of it. And as much as I love Frank Grillo, he feels unnecessary and forgettable in this film because he's not really a part of the major narrative. Similar to the previous movie, the 3-4 years ago, whatever the hell it was, it is really about the dynamic of Van Wilder and Samuel motherfucking Jackson, and ironically enough, Sophia, Salma Hayek's character and her grown dynamic with Reynolds is so funny. It generates most of the laughs, like most of the scenes that I thought were incredibly amusing, you know, where she's talking about him like touching her boobs, and she's, you know, making very dirty mentions of trying to get impregnated and her pussy and stuff like that. Very funny stuff. And also, I love Antonio Banderas, and obviously Desperado. Robert Rodriguez is one of my favorite directors like ever out there, and the reteaming of the two of them and how they were like lost loves. I guess that kind of spoils a little bit. Sorry guys, but you know, that's not really giving too much away, I would say. But yeah, Antonio Banderas he's hamming it up. He is having fun. Just like the previous film, the action is just fast-paced, blistering. It's super violent and yet fun. I mean, it is more so of the Richie regard, you know, and you know, maybe sprinkling a little bit of a protege of his, you know, because you know, Kingsman, like, he was a protege from Layer Cake, if I remember correctly, the director of that particular film. And so, yeah, I like action when it is violent, like especially uber ultra violent, but yet still is having fun. And you know, as I said on a previous review when I was talking about Wrath of Man, for instance, like Die Hard. Die Hard is the prototype of just hyper violence in a lot of ways, and this is long before Tarantino or any of those other copycats tried to mimic it. But like the hyper violence with having fun and the ebb and flow in the breathing room of the situation, and that is most definitely what this flick did. It's just it may be forgettable for many, and I'm not going to go as far as saying in my rating here in a moment that it's like 4 out of 5 or anything like that, but this is most definitely Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Is most definitely a very solid 3. It is a bueno film. I might even go as far as like 3.5, but you know, as I say in all of these reviews, that yes, I have to cut myself off. I don't go like with half ratings or anything. So this is definitely bueno. This is definitely, if you are willing and just accepting of the new safety protocols and just want to go to a theater, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard was a shit ton of fun, and I would most definitely recommend it. More so than anything, amongst the banter with our 3 leads. Salma Hayek, though, she has so much more comedic timing and potential than I think a lot of projects have given her and accorded the possibility for. So, you know, props to her. Obviously, you know, Jackson and Van Wilder, they bring it, as you saw their great chemistry in the previous film, you know, where they were the music selection. I do think the music selection was a little bit better in the previous film, but aside from that, man, this is a jovial bit of stupidity, and yeah, go out to a theater if you are comfortable doing such. So, I've been Jaime En Fuego. You can find moi on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, here on the YouTubes. Give me a like, a share, a subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. And if you like spectacular shizzle, head over to youtube.com/The Horror Show channel. That's where, yeah, we are still rocking and proper. And everybody, once again, I appreciate you so very much. So, until the Reel of Kyle comes around once more, hasta luego, and amigos, constant readers and viewers alike, say thank you. I'm hopeful we share more of this palaver sooner rather than later, and until then, remember to go out to the theater and support the system, because they are anxiously waiting for all of you.